or if he intends to remain on that pick. This means they want to get real aggressive, down and dirty, get a bit of biffo going on the point early.
And now they're going to stay with this Lucio. They're going to speed, try and pass through this initial choke, try and catch LA Valiant off guard. They kind of faked some action to the right and then went back towards their left here. See Striker just getting soon weak, going to use his recall, get on back with the rest of the squad. A really slow push here coming in from the Uprising.
The composition would imply a more aggressive approach, but the Uprising are just taking it one at a time. Right now, Kareev is huddled inside the Hunter's Lodge on the other side of the point, refusing to pick out him. He's already feeling threatened, or he's just trying to stay safe, either one. Striker's up here on the point, though, and Envy's already lost his mech. It's a good start for the Uprising, and there's more to come. Striker has found Fate. Now Winston is now missing.
2 big kills there for the Boston Uprising. Oh, Zoom though gets the better Striker right there in the 1v1. Envy will actually get right back in his mech. He'll come right back into the action. Fate gets a res from Verbo, so it'll be Boston Uprising. They'll lose this first fight. They'll have to back on out. And the fight lasted so long, Mitch, that the Valiant, both teams really, they've had both their support ults already online. So nice shot there from Dream.
Damn,
for not able to connect with the second.
Such a long range shot. Crazy. Casper now will have a commanding view of the situation. You'll be hoping that someone like Striker on the ground, or Gumshoe for that matter, will actually follow up on the damage that he inflicts early on. Striker is looking. The pulse bomb, we want to be keeping our eye on here. Getting a 2-for-1 would be incredible for the Boston Uprising to start the fight off at a man advantage, but he's been forced back. Has his recall still. That's going to be a boon for him going into this particular fight. Then we have Fate has fallen down, but Verbo actually has his Valkyrie available if he needs to soon get that pulse bomb. And our Dream Casper, big old step back to wait, but Kelix is bringing the truth back here for Boston.
It's going to be the res that comes in here. Verbo is going to bring Kareev back into the fight using his Valkyrie, and Neko will use the sound barrier. Have everybody on the point here for the Boston Uprising. Dream Casper with a rocket barrage. Does not end well for him, as this is a fight that looks like Boston will end up losing.
It's a little tight. Agility's, for the most part, Barrage is getting eaten up here. We can see now some of these Valiant players are streaming out onto the point, but Boston still have a few plays in the vicinity. Gamsu's dead. Neko's going to switch off the Lucio now towards the Zenyatta. And Agility's here. He's playing some long-range rockets up against Dream.
And the Valiant come out of this fight with Kareev still with that Transcendence. He never actually needed to use it. He was all the way back in that Hunter's Lodge. Nobody really put any type of pressure on him. At the beginning, one long-range shot from Agility's almost connects with the second there. Onto Dreamcast for the far Sparrow pedal. Has been awesome here. Beginning of this series, only minutes ago here for the Uprising. Just seems so passive thus far.
This is so ballsy from Dreamcast, but he doesn't have his Mercy with him. Incredible. Kelix had to back away and heal up Gumshoe, but Neko was found in the meantime. Now Agilities might have a little bit more room to breathe. He's looking for that final blow. One more and we'll get the job done, but Casper's eluding him so far. He's low on HP, but so is Agilities here. It's a nail-biter of a battle. And Agility's now trying to back away because he knows Note can be very nasty with those micro rockets. In the meantime, on the ground, where much of the fight's actually happening, Envy has been desuited here. Note has a self-destruct, so we can always refresh that mech if he needs to keep going in the fight. And it lost Verbo. He almost had Valkyrie. The Valiant now have no Resurrect available, but it may not matter if they get aggressive enough to push forward. Agility's though is taken down by the self-destruct. Note is able to plant that on the point and remove the Pharah from the situation. The Valiant to take 5, and that's Neko from downrange to find Sue.
Valiant will end up losing point A here. They'll have to back out. And I think Kareev ends up using that Transcendence because Verbo's like 97% to Valkyrie. You use the Transcendence, then you use Valkyrie, you're able to bring one of your tanks back in. Then Fate would have been coming off of respawn, jumped right over the top, and then you have a realistic chance to take that fight.
It was not to be, Matt. Boston will be on the road, and the Valiant, again, still spawning back in, so they don't have a chance to try and contest it at this gate, which a lot of teams have been enjoying lately. You know, teams with Pharaohs on defense like to just sort of bombard that portcullis area. Get some free picks to slow down the attackers, but dive is on. We're going to see a lot of dive, ladies and gentlemen. If you're easily overstimulated, this may be a little bit of a difficult game to follow. Striker will constantly be looking for it, either Soon or Kareev or Verbo especially.
You say that, it was kind of interesting, you know, how kind of methodical that Boston's approach over towards that point A was. It was not the usual dive we see from them. That'll force Verbo to use his Valkyrie. He'll bring back Agilities and Fate. So you get one tank back into the action. You get Agility from far. Yeah, this is not going to go well for the Valiant.
Fate got rezzed kind of out of position anyway, so even if he wanted to get back to his team, they would have been done anyway. He was half health by the time he got back up. And that's an investment of ultimates here from the Valiant. They haven't really amounted to a heck of a lot. Right? The Valkyrie gets used there, a reasonable time to go for it, in all fairness. But the Uprising can just even the odds very, very quickly after Fate sort of spawning in their midst. Just pump damage into the monkey and set
The
it back
Uprise are going to end up with both support ults here, and Soon dies. He was actually all the way back by the underpass, so you're not going to have Tracer. He actually gets res right back up as he makes it a little bit closer to the door. Safer for Verbo to res him there, but it'll be Striker who takes out Soon yet again. It's a big rocket barrage that comes out from Dreamcasper. It's even bigger in this fight for Boston, Mitch, is that Kareev, he ends up using his ult. You don't have to use either of the support ults here for the Boston Uprising. You can hold on to Transcendence and Valkyrie as we go into the castle.
Soon and Striker have a very similar amount of damage done. But in the head-to-head, it definitely appears that Striker is a little bit better. Okay, big boy. All right. Giving Soon the wave.
Okay.
This was earlier on. This is when Dream is actually able to pick up Soon. I think he tried to just push through one of these corridors and just got blown up. Yeah, it's unlucky, not much to do there.
There's the rocket barrage, and you see the Transcendence just comes a little bit too late. So don't really get much use out of that. Be a pulse bomb.
Striker hiding here as well. Waiting for the fight to break down a bit before he can get fixed. So he comes back, adds some damage on towards Fate. Now the Transcendence is being used. The Boston Uprising want to commit to this fight. Soon's chunked down. His recall is forced out earlier. Now Striker can try and pressure that even further. He's already fallen with the Dreamcasper, by the way. He fell straight into a concussive fight. And now they're pressuring the Valiant back. Junkrat might be the Valiant's friend, but perhaps it's a little bit too late for this kind of explosive approach.
You're going to need another fight here, Boston. You have your self-destruct. Verbo with Valkyrie cannot get caught with that Diva ultimate kind of flying in the sky here.
Oh, Envy just gets there, but where's the backup going to be? It's going to be a dive in here. Drop in for Fate. Envy now going to get desuited, but blown up as soon as he gets out of the Magna. The protection wasn't enough. Now it's going to be Dreamcasper again. He takes out Agility's Riptide. That could have been the get-out-of-jail free card for the Los Angeles Valiant, but they're bringing the Transcendence here. In fact, the Valkyrie's also thrown in the mix. They've got everything they could possibly need to hold on, but there may be like the damage and player numbers. Agility's is running back in now on the Soldier 76. He hasn't been in the mix, and they get off! They get off the payload! That's rough. A split second is all it takes there.
That was dominant from the Boston Uprising in the first half. You must have heard our analysts all take the Valiant. As usual, I feel like everybody always picks against Boston.
How many times does it have to happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
That being
really
said,
turned things around.
That being said, the Los Angeles Valiant currently stand at 6-2, whereas the Uprising are 4-3. So if you look back over the record, it's reasonable. The Valiant need to win this game to get themselves into the playoff spot, by the way. They lose this one, life gets a little bit harder. They're going to play Seoul next week.
Yeah, I believe the Valiant now 5-2. If they win this, they'd be 6-2. You're already giving them.
6-2.
You're already giving it to them. We haven't even seen it yet.
I'm just pandering to the crowd like the analyst did. Don't worry. Just what I do.
They're getting really good at that.
Difference is I didn't get a cheer, though.
Yeah, no cheers for you.
Okay.
Well, because we just
I have the desk used them all up.
So Boston finishes the map, 52 seconds left in their time bank. Now we'll see the Valiant on offense. You know, you didn't really, we said maybe like the loss of Silk Thread, you'd see it on a map like this. I really didn't think so. I thought Agility's played fine. And we went over towards the Junkrat later in the match. You know, he didn't get anything with his Riptire. He gets blown up. And I can't believe Dreamcasper hits it with his own Junkrat mine. Then switched to the 76 late where we never actually saw him in the spot. I think
he got pulse bombed or something like that. He got out there briefly.
Yeah, Agility's got pulse bombed while he was calling his Riptire, and then the tire also got killed by Dreamcasper. So it's an ultimate that could have made a difference, but just got taken out. Probably before it even got off the ground. Probably just threw a mine right at him as he was taking it.
This is the Boston Uprising. If you give them an opening or if you give them a little bit of momentum, they really tend to run away with it, just like they did there. Slowed down, trying to hit that first point map, and after that, it was smooth sailing. Boys from Massachusetts. Now the Los Angeles Valiant will be going on the attack. Cheeky rockets thrown in early to see if they can get a pick on a Zenyatta or something similar. And it is going to be Soon on the Widowmaker on attack on Akivol, which is rather interesting in itself.
He was just looking over the top, trying to get a pick. Oh, he's got me again. Onto Dreamcasper. Classic. Soon go over Tracer. Right now, Valiant is trying to push it. They're a little bit split. You have the tanks to the left. Agility's just poking here for some damage over on the right. Now they start to move in towards the point.
Here we are. Agility's stuck in the middle with Dreamcasper. Half HP and he gets the direct rocket. That's what we're looking for. This came so close earlier on. All he had to do was find one. His opponent was already quite low there. Plenty of help coming in from Fate. And now with not going down, Agility's is already, you can see him, he's already thinking ahead. Moving forward now. Just to try and prevent any of the reinforcements. I think that's only, it's only Neko getting on towards the point here, so tough for him to hang around. Quick dispatch from Agility's. Job done on point 1.
That was quick. Valiant run right in. They will take point A. Neko will move over to Zenyatta here. need those discords from far in the sky. And the Valiant did a good job. It was Envy the one who finished Kellex right away. I believe he gets hit with a rocket from Agilities, and then Envy just goes right up on D.Va, flies right into the Mercy, takes him out.
You might actually see Boston just get mindlessly aggressive here right now. They don't have a lot of ultimates built up in general, so if they can sort of force them out, they'll be able to take last right bank. But they have the high ground, they can sort of get an engage on, poke for a little while until they see an out of position support, and then sort of pull the trigger. The Pharah battle will actually have a bearing on whether that's going to happen. Gamsu drops down and tries for something. The Pulse Bomb leaves him a little bit sore.
Oh, he's extremely low. He barely makes it out with his life. Just backs all the way out. It's going to leave Nope, the only one.
Oh, he wants it!
The payload on defense, and Agility is trying to win this battle. He's going to get some damage in from the side on Nope. Soon will actually take out Striker here, so you get that top tier Tracer out of the equation, and Envy connects with Note with a self-destruct.
Yeah, Kellex, I don't know if he can bring him back or not. Agilities is still such a magician at hitting these first rockets. The follow-up, unfortunately, a little bit harder for him to find. Still, though, he fancies it. He wants to be in the thick of things right now, especially when he's got the barrage. He does spot Neko there, a little bit of a compromised position. Neko's going to get jumped on. You can see him in the back line on the top of the screen. He's down. Fate gets the Fist of Fury in there. It's an easy primal rage dispatch. Payload, though, still moving. They lose Fate as a result. They trade a Winston for a Zenyatta. Soon, half HP has to recall right about now, and they're going to be brought straight back in. A bit of a hard reset, except for Note, who now gets desuited, taken out. Agilities needs one more rocket again. Oh, the fear of God, he's putting into Casper. And now he's going to finish the job there. The barrage comes down, and Gamsu didn't know what hit him.
Neko uses his Transcendence here as he just has Mercy alive, Kellex. Dream Casper is there as well. They already lost both tanks here.
How aggressive is this guy?
Now it's going to be a big ult advantage in terms of you have that Transcendence for the Valiant here. If Boston comes out to challenge them, Rocket Barrage, that gets nothing there. Gamsu goes over towards that side, trying to stay alive, making it towards the top of the castle. He will fall.
Man, this is a really fast time for the Valiant here. Uprising haven't even been able to hold them off in the second phase. They're going to breathe contest here, but Neko's gone down in Kareem, so he picks up the respawning player in Neko. It needs to be resurrected. They need him in this fight, at least for the Discord Orb to break through some of these tanks. Soon, bit of respect there. Big step back. Does have his recall available, so he doesn't mind being a little bit reckless for these few moments. Casper tries to throw himself at the payload as Junkrat, and now Striker will be the last clean up there. 4 minutes and 24 seconds for the home team. A huge time bank to work with. Now for Boston, they're battening down the hatches. It's time for full tortoise formation.
It was really good positioning from Kareev there. He puts himself a little bit further back on the bridge, so the players from Boston can't dive him. He doesn't have to use that Transcendence or even have it forced out. He's able to hold on to it. Still
feels good.
He go inside.
Orisa shield thrown up. Envy going to be more than happy to commit the micro rockets into breaking that down, and soon wins the 1v1 against Striker. That's a huge opening and a good start. And the Valiant seem to be, propelled by that kill at the very least. Looking for the Orisa, who obviously used a fortify there, but Gamsu wasn't able to stay alive through the onslaught he was taking anyway. Envy has a reset on his suit here. This is big. He can now get super aggressive and dive the backline because he knows he can usually resuit comfortably himself. Plus, the self-destruct on the payload is such a sick zoning tool at this stage of the game.
The Valkyrie from both sides as Verbo has used his. Kellex got the Valkyrie as well. It'll be Transcendence that comes in for Kareev. You're going to res Agilities back up, bring Striker back into the action as well.
Res. Riptide coming under towards Fate though, dropping the Winston away. I don't think there's a Resurrect available for that one. You can see the Envy's going very, very deep right now. Trying to get on towards Striker, but hasn't been able to clean him up. No, it does get desuited by the Pulse Bomb dropped on there by Soon, and Envy now from the sideline trying to get some Bunny Blast that kills Kareev in the backline. He's found a couple. Now Gamsu going to hide under the dome, and Soon gets caught up in a trap there. Striker easily able to one-clip his immobile target. And the Valiant might be running out of gas a little bit here. Agilities needs to hit some mad direct rockets, but Envy finds a hole in the defenses there. Neko gets left upon, and Agilities now with a little bit more freedom. Less concerned about the Discord Orb, less concerned about the Zenyatta in general. That's enabled him to find Gamsu. This is good stall coming out from the Uprising, but one by one they're starting to be toppled here. Note getting a lot of healing, a lot of pocketing, but Kellex is down. Verbo's also fallen though, man. They've lost both their mercies here. The self-destruct, that's nasty. Agilities is taken down by that one, but it's still getting closer. Gamsu trying to pressure the point. What is this stall right now? It's a long fight, but the Valiant get there.
It's just a matter of time.
Circular breathing, my dude. Circular breathing.
It was just a matter of time before the Valiant got the payload to the end. Now, we will play in overtime as Boston will only have a minute in their time bank. They finished with, I believe it was like under a minute to go, and then You know, now it'll be the Valiant when they go on offense. They'll have 2 minutes and 36 seconds.
Man, let's go and listen to the comms here from the earlier in that game. I believe it was the Valiant. Let's hear it.
I killed Diva. Sandcry.
저그래 내 타요.
one. Monkey there. Monkey.
I'm on him.
Kill for Nako. They're gonna try to kill Nako right here.
아이고 피죠. 쟤 아이피 나요.
Monkey.
디바.
Diva long card. Diva one, man. Nice. Crystal left side. Nice.
There you go. My bad. It was actually the Boston Uprising there as well. So, you know, trying to hold up under such an onslaught for as long as they did is quite impressive. 2 minutes 36. I think it was only 1:36 on the clock actually by the time Valiant finished up. So this actually becomes a much closer affair than it otherwise would have been.
We'll see Boston on offense first. You know, no real changes. Looks like they're not going to run the Lucio here at the beginning. They'll have Neko play Zenyatta. You still have the Pharahs on both sides. I think if you're going to take the point this fast for Boston, you're going to need to see Striker come out with a big kill somewhere and then the dive come out through.
Soon already. That's going to be a quick press. They should be able to get this one easily enough here. Furbo's in position for it. But still nasty to beat down that player. He's not in position. Okay, it's a 5-man squad here for the Valiant trying to hold up now, and they've lost Envy here. A small advantage, maybe starting to snowball out of control. Definitely seems to be the case, Matt. Fate and Furbo are down. The Uprising has sprung forth so effectively.
That is such a huge kill for Dreamcasper at the beginning that soon gets picked on the other side of the main pillar. You kind of go around, right? The one to the right of the payload here. And what happens is Verbo's like pretty far away. He's all the way in the back with Kareed. And as soon as he goes in for the res, Boston just jumps everybody on top of him. Gamsu, Note, Striker just jump onto it. Dreamcasper shooting rockets, Verbo's forced out. The other players are now weak for the Valiant, and they all fall.
I think it's fair to say it's almost like the Uprising needed that to happen, or the fight to be won there, to have a chance at actually, you know, taking this all the way. Pulse Bomb dropped in. Actually, is enough to de-suit Envy, despite the fact that he was being healed there. Picks out the Diva right now, so it's going to allow a little bit more pressure to come, especially from above. Dreamcasper is close to the barrage here, so lacking a Diva in that case would be pretty nasty here. Casper down to Soon though. He hovers a little bit too close to the ground. Now it's just the 2 tanks trying to hold the fort here for the Boston Uprising. They're trying to go aggressive, but Soon blows himself up with his own pulse bump. Sure, he gets Neko, but he goes down himself, and now it's just Envy versus 3.
Will the Boston Uprising, who has that closer offensive spawn. Valiant are going to have to back out here. It's very hard on the defensive end to force these teams off of the payload as that wick burns down. As Boston, they'll have their Valkyrie, they'll have a rocket barrage, you're gonna have Pulse Bomb, then you get Primal Rage in a good situation. Verbo falls at the beginning here. He has Valkyrie as well. That's going to force the Valiant to back up yet again. Did he nail him through the window?
I think it was a bit of splash damage. They were fairly close up in the top left corner. Agility's now has to go with just the Harmony Orb, by the way. He doesn't have the Mercy Pocket anymore. You can see right around the back is coming soon. He's got a bit of making up to do for what happened earlier on. Good burst down on Note, but he's just going to get his suit back again. Oh, it's a barrage bonanza! Both Pharahs getting 2 kills, but Verbo and Agility's crucially were the ones picked up by Dreamcasper. The Mercy, again, getting picked up before the fight can really start, and now there's no Pharah present for the Valiant, so it's all boots on the ground for the boys in green and gold, and that's not what they want when they're dealing with a Pharah. Kareev and Envy have gone down here. Note just holding the fort, benefiting from all this healing, pressuring the enemy tanks down. Fate will drop, Striker's also there. So much flexibility and freedom now for the DPSs of the Boston Uprising. Verbo drops again, Agilities has to commit, nothing to be done. Micro Rockets are going to clean him up, and Note finds him 5 points here for the Uprising.
And the Uprising hold on to their Transcendence all through that. Both support ults used by the Valiant there. And it is not enough. The payload is continuing to move. Agilities will go to Genji here, so you think the all-out assault is just going to be a flat-out dive here, just coming for the Valiant.
I mean, again, if the Uprising are out of contact with the payload by 1 second, then that's done. Round will be over, but this is... the Valiant have really let them in here. They've given him a huge lead. So Fate goes into the back, drops the shield, but he's on the wrong side of it. He takes damage from Dreamcasper the whole time, and Casper's found his second. It's always this man to step up when Boston need him. And now the Pulse Bomb from Striker is going to deal with Envy. No more defense matrix, no more Soon at that. And the Boston Uprising won't be stopped.
And what do you do if you're the Valiant here? I mean, you got to change something up just to get back towards this payload. Gamsu has Primal Rage, and he actually takes out Agility. He's coming out of the spawn. It's a big kill. It's a rocket barrage that comes in from Dreamcasper.
They made it.
That is it. Boston, what a run.
Dreamcasper just dunks in there and goes for a point-blank barrage. He knows all he needs to do is get rid of the people that are trying to spawn back in. This is what we're saying about this team. They're relentless. They just don't stop. If you show a sign of weakness, if they can smell your fear, they're going to come in thick and fast.
We were talking about Striker getting that first pick. Dreamcasper over the top connects those rockets on the Soon, and the Valiant were never able to recover after that. So, although the Valiant do set a better time, you know, with the initial offensive side, right? You know, they get the extra minute, 2 minutes, 36 seconds on the clock. Still, to get it all the way the distance is going to be very tough.
Well, a couple of crucial picks throughout that round map that really hurt the Valiant. Soon getting picked off right at the start of that first stage by Dreamcasper. You could see that was it. I've got to say, the Uprising are very good at identifying an opening and capitalizing on it, making an informed decision to get the most out of a man advantage. And then, of course, we saw a couple of picks happen over on that second stage. You know, so Soon, unfortunately, blows himself up with his own pulse from while dealing with Neko. It left, you know, Envy in a 1v3 on the payload while he's trying to stall it out. The Valiant seems so disjointed all the way through, and then losing agilities and Verbo towards the end outside that second checkpoint just made it even worse.
And that'll be the key for Boston here on defense. It's just, you know, if the Valiant start to move the payload, just don't freak out, don't get disjointed. Because towards that end of the map, you know, as you go into the castle, towards that last point C, that you have such a huge spawn advantage as the defenders, right? You spawn right inside the castle. All it takes is just one pick in one of those fights, and you're pretty much good to go.
Well, easy enough to say, Matt, I suppose, for the Valiant. Envy again just trying to deal with some of this infrastructure, get rid of some of these bubbles. Open the way for agilities to get good damage. Soon's recall was just forced then off screen, so he now needs to play passively for the next few seconds. You can see this is a slow roll for the Valiant. They really can't take any risks. Another big direct hit from agilities, by the way. If he keeps doing 2 more of those, we're just not going to get excited about him anymore. It's going to ruin it. We're going to be spoiled.
And they had to wait a little bit because Agilities was weak all the way on the right-hand side. They didn't have Verbo with him, so had to come back to the rest of the team, get the healing from the Mercy. Now the push starts to develop a little bit here, where the Valiant knocks himself off the wall. 1 rocket from each Pharah, and then the Mercies come up, heal him back to full HP.
As soon as Casper gets remotely close to Agilities, it's like catnip. His concussive blasts himself straight towards the enemy Pharah and tries to go in for the fight. Now the Valiant are trying to start a fight of their own. Envy's down, and Dabsu's brought back to life after being pulse bombed there, so they still have that Winston in play. The Diva mech, though, from Note isn't. That's a factor. Agilities needs to stay alive here and try and get somewhere, but he won't get to his barrage. And Casper's managed to find him and now fight with a Primal Rage indoors. This could be nasty.
Yeah, it's Valkyrie up for both sides. Now the Transcendence here that comes in for Boston at the end of the fight. They'll end up taking this. A minute to go. Soon is all the way in the back by where the Boston Uprising spawn right now. Just trying to work on a flank potentially through the Hunter's Lock, so to speak. So you see what I see now is Soon all the way in the back. They have to have an idea he's still back.
I'll tell you what, Dreamcasper has about 25% more damage than either Soon or Agilities respectively. He's hitting real hard.
I mean, 38 limbs, 22 final blows.
Yeah.
He has been tremendous. And now some ultimates online here for the Uprising. You have Striker with a Pulse Bomb. He's actually going to connect on a Fate with it. He's going to force a Primal Rage out to start this fight.
Again, Envy just checking their periphery, making sure that no one's going to be sneaking in from outside. And that was Neko. He's been found. Envy now is going to have to give up his mech and get a quick resuit here, but it may be worth it with Dreamcasper out of the picture. Agilities finally has some room to spread his wings, or at least just trying to pump some more of these rockets down. Barrage not available to him. He must have used it recently to little result, otherwise the kill feed would have indicated that. But Soon's got a pulse bomb. He'll be waiting for anyone to try and drop down on towards the point. Yeah, sure, Matt, the Valiant will have themselves the point here, but they've got a long climb to go.
We are in overtime as they unlock the payload here on point A. If you're Boston, just don't freak out in this type of situation, right? Just kind of just force it, because you have to know that the Valiant are getting close to both support ults. If not, they have them already, which they do. At this point for Boston, you're just trying to force these support ults out before you get into the castle or even the bridge right here, before you take point B and get one game-winning fight on the bridge.
Oh my Lord!
Who connects with 2 long-range shots onto Agilities, and that'll force out the Valkyrie from both sides.
May I? Well, we cast this game 2 years ago, and that would never happen. You would just never see it happen. But the Pharah play, the standard of it has increased so drastically since then, and now we're getting stuff like this treated to us all the time. I love it. Notice the Valiant is staying very close to the payload and just using Fate more aggressively going forward. Well, kind of doesn't work out because he gets picked off, and now the Pulse Bomb is going to claim Envy. They've lost one of their tanks. Fate was brought back, and now double Transcendence going in. And you know what happens if a Storm has two eyes? You know it's going to be pretty rough. Soon now is trying to make something of the churning mass here, but Agility's is up above. Continue to pound down. Casper's got a vendetta to settle, I feel.
He has been doing quite well. Another direct hit there. Lands it onto Soon. Fate does have Primal Rage, so could extend this if needed for the Valiant. Valiant still have the 3 players left here as Dreamcasper connects with a Rocket Barrage onto Fate. And that'll be it. Nobody left by the payload for the Valiant. It'll be the Boston Uprising taking map 1.
Incredible play from the Boston Uprising. They see every opportunity presented to them and they make the most of it. The Valiant have no one to blame but themselves to a great degree there. Had a lead, a commanding one at that.
If you look at striker stats from game 1, 49 elims, 22 blows, 9 deaths. It's an insane game from the DPS players on the Boston Uprising.
This first map is anything to go by. The second is going to be even better, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. What a clash to end the week here. Boston up 1-0.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
A league that offers opportunity for talented competitors to test and push our assumptions about how the game is meant to be played.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming at you live from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Valiant are facing a grim reality of a completely different kind right now. Straight out the gates, Boston Uprising. They have a strong first playthrough of the map against them. Let them through, give them just the opening they need to take the map away.
Yeah, Boston completes the entire map there on Eichenwald. You know, twice they do it in regulation, they do it in our extra time.
Which is very rare.
Which is very rare. The Valiant not able to do so. Our next map will be Horizon Lunar Colony. No substitutions on both sides. So we mentioned, you know, Unko still not able to play, still feeling a little bit sick. You have Silk Thread, who's also sick for the Valiant.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
Unko's condition is described as an upper body injury, I believe. So that's kind of the information you have. Could be anything, really. Could be a torn shoulder or their dad. No offense to old mate, I don't know how much he lifts, but it's probably something else, man.
So we go into Horizon. You kind of think of what the Valiant lose with not having Silk Thread, right? Like maybe like a 76 on McCree that forces Soon off of Tracer. So you see agilities place in Tracer.
What are they lacking? Do you feel just the flexibility?
Yeah, just a little bit of flexibility because you know they would bring in Silk Thread, who can also play Genji, can also play Junkrat, but they can also flex him on a hit scan heroes, right? So you wonder, you know, how do they try and make their normal compositions work? At least what it looks like here is agilities will be playing Junkrat and then soon McCree.
Do you feel like they're lacking the 76? Or you mean the fact that they had to take Soon and put him on
Exactly,
McCree,
yeah. It's just having that one player who can play hit scan and projectile, right? Now, having that player on your team can be such a huge advantage, and I think that's where you lose it a little bit here. I mean, we did see agilities, you know, during contenders a little bit further back. You know, he does play some Tracer. And really, it was you know, Grim Reality on that team that was playing a lot of the McCree 76 heroes like that. So
times have changed, though, haven't they? Quite often they need that Pharah and Tracer in conjunction. However, the Los Angeles Valiant are going to be playing, I kind of call it a cactus comp. I mean, people are calling it pulled pork now, according to Twitter, because obviously, you know, Orisa pulls people in and there's a hog in the mix. Ball and chain is also fine, but again, it's an anti-dive composition that makes it very risky for people like Tracer and such to jump into your back.
And you usually see the Widowmaker on defense, but it'll be Soon who will be playing McCree. I think you see that because you know Boston's reaction to this is going to be to go dive. You want the McCree, the flashbang specifically, to go up against a Tracer. And oh, Gamsu's dead. That's what I love about Orisa. It's like they kind of get to the corner and they're deciding on what to do. And sometimes you just mentally blank, like you forget the halt is even there.
No, or if you just see the halt, you kind of don't worry about it. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I might take a bit of poke damage from being out in the open. And then you're on the other end of the chain and you realize you've made many mistakes in your life, including that one. So, Envy position now, mind you, of course, the ball and chain combo is off cooldown, so that is an option. And yeah, Neko's playing a sniper at the moment, playing a long way back. The Boston Uprising are trying to tease the point here. They're trying to use this as an opening to spread them. Oh, Casper gets the reflex, that's cheeky! But Soon might find him with one more shot, and he does. Casper tries to hurl himself out into the oxygenless abyss. And Soon's having none of it. He deals with him first, gets him on the point. Somehow still, the Valiant have given away a tick to the Boston Uprising, though. We've been watching Soon running a riot, but the rest of them may have just given the Uprising too much time on point A.
I believe earlier in this season, that was a strategy that the Boston Uprising used against NYXL that actually ended up working. At both supports now caught out here. And Striker as well. Oh, nice play there by Striker. He sticks Envy. Oh, and they get Verbo as well. Big play by Striker. Takes out two players here.
This is smart. He's going to work with Kellex as well. So not only does Kellex get out to safety, they can keep applying pressure to the point. The Valiant have actually thought that we're just going to be stalling out the Boston Uprising, but instead they're throwing themselves into the meat grinder. Fate trying to exemplify the previous statement. Getting that damage on towards Gamsu there, but they're giving up two ticks now. This has gone all wrong for the Valiant. This is not how it's supposed to happen. Holt used. Fate now needs to walk onto the point. He kind of doesn't really want to though, does he? He's going to go on and off at the point and try and keep it contested, but that Fortify is going to wear out. He needs backup, Matt.
They use the Transcendence because they want to keep Fate alive long enough for Verbo to come back with his Valkyrie. It'll be Whole Hog that's used from Envy. Soon is also going to use a Deadeye. A lot of ultimates being invested here by the Valiant to try and hold on to point A.
Oh, Agility's Riptide is taken down. That could have been what would have given them a bit of breathing space here. But the Uprising just don't do that. They suffocate you slowly but surely. Now they're going to make the way to the point. They've surrounded both of these tanks here now. And the big Hogman is going to struggle. Yeah, you can see Envy. About 4 people attack him at once. Even taking a breather's not going to help him there. And that's point A done. The Boston Uprising. Oh, man, they're fast.
Can you snowball this? You have your Transcendence plus Dragon Blade. You know that they just used Transcendence and Valkyrie for the Valiant. This may be an opportunity for the Uprising. This really just kind of run through this map quick.
Well, you know they want it. Pulse bomb stuck towards Envy. He gets deep into that Dream Casper. It's his Wonderland. He's found agilities and Verbo. He's got Fate as well. That's a big haul for him. And the Valiant are struggling for players. They lost so much in that last little fight. See, Gamsu was all about it there. Where are the Los Angeles Valiant? Nowhere to be seen.
Point A and B with 4 minutes and 57 seconds in the time bank. That is fast coming out from the Boston Uprising. They did a great job of taking advantage. You know, when they were unlocking point B, they knew that the Valiant had threw all of their ultimates into that previous fight. What they used a whole hog, they used Transcendence, they used Valkyrie, all in the previous fight, and their Riptire. Agilities was playing Junkrat at that time. They used the Riptire as well.
We've got a very concerned fan here, Matt. He doesn't quite like the current nomenclature for some of our abilities. He's requested pull pork. Cheers, Saxophone. I've tried to implement that one, mate. No promises. I will keep them coming. If you've got more suggestions like that, I'll look at them at least.
I'll look at them. I won't be pleased with them.
Oh, it's right in front. Comes across my desk, you know.
It's like, what do they call the quad tank with the Moira meatball?
Slamulence. Well, it depends. Slamulence? Yeah. Moira meatball.
I think they both stink. I don't know what I would call it. I'm not creative.
You're not really like an idiom kind of guy, though, are you? It's not really the way you choose to go.
No, that would be a great way to describe that. That is not the way I decide to talk.
Right.
The Uprising on defense, they will not go with pulled pork. They'll go with just a dive composition, just normal setup from the Boston Uprising.
Shocking, of course.
No, not too shocked. I do like how they've committed to this. They're like, you know what? This is what we do really well. We're going to play it. You need to stop it.
I feel like this is Huck, obviously president of gaming at Boston Uprising, spending so much time in Korea and kind of realizing that one thing that Korean teams did so well in Overwatch was just to refine the same thing by rinsing.
I made a joke about it. Now you see the slam come out.
Okay.
But Dive is pretty good against this though. So they'll be able to just, because you don't have the Junkrat to charge up the Zarya or put down a ton of damage to give Moira Coalescence, right? Like if you're going to just burst people down, most likely you're going to finish them off in time.
You'd want a Junkrat against this normal.
Oh, well,
you're going to get, just for the Riptire, if anything else. They're going to play together now. A lot of healing available. Watch Kareev's ultimate percentage tick up, by the way. That'll give you an indication of how scary they're looking. So essentially, the Valiant have made it onto the point, not unscathed, but still with all of their players present, which is remarkable in and of itself. Soon's trying to get charged up, and now he's at 50%, but Verbo does get picked out of the Knicks early on. Note at least getting desuited here. Notice that Kareev's very, very low, but he's close to a Coalescence. He might not need it, though the Valiant have got this one figured out. Downloaded the composition. And now Kareev hung around for a while. He won't have a chance to use that Coalescence, so there could be a difference making. He just Note's back. He's back in town, back on the point. Soon's not been able to get much charge there at all on that particle cannon. He's not doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, Neko earns himself Transcendence. Could opt to use it here for the Boston Uprising. Neko taking out a ton of players here. Agility's just trying to stay alive on the point. He will fall. Verbo drops as well. So you think for the Valiant, you stay with this again. You have Coalescence, you have Whole Hog. For the Boston Uprising, though, this is where you're really going to see the difference. I mean, Kelix is going to have Valkyrie. You're going to have the double res. Verbo about halfway. That was not intentional there as Gamsu is primal raged up on the high ground. Giving some warning swings up there. You've lost that big ability, right? To slow out time.
It's a loud sound cue, by the way. So the Valiant would have heard the Boston Uprising was situated just above that opening. So they get in this time. This time they get in with some of those ultimates as well, crucially enough. See what the Dragon Blade can do. Kareev can't outlast the Dragon Blade while using that Coalescence. He just doesn't have the healing. So he's going to back away, but Neko just slaps him in the face. He tries to go for the channel, but he's no one there to really receive the healing, and he was out of position anyway. Dream Casper, you see Agilities is trying to keep him at arm's length with a whole hog, but this guy's relentless. Eventually he's going to have his prey, and he gets two with that blade. Agilities falls there, throw with the shuriken. 2 ticks for the Valiant.
And you get to hold on to your support ults for the Boston Uprising.
Oh, it just gets worse and worse.
They held on to their Transcendence and Valkyrie during that fight. And now you're kind of committed to this Lucio, right? Because you're going to have Grav and you're going to have Sound Barrier. But if you don't connect with Kelix,
Gamsu almost has a Primal Rage for this next fight. 1 per fight. That's amazing. He actually got his Primal Rage already. That's insane.
And they use Sound Barrier just to get to the point. They get Primal Rage inside, they use the sound barrier, then Boston just backs on out.
It's got to be the biggest of grabs, Matt. I'm not going to lie. It's going to have to be incredible. Earthshatter comes in. Actually, only catch no. The bubble water protected the Earthshatter had been toward the left anyway.
It was reflected.
Oh,
the grab got reflected.
Dream Casper sent it back towards the Los Angeles Valiant. They're all tied together with a pretty bow, and now it's for Boston Uprising to send that one airmail, trying to pressure down. It's going to be Neko getting resurrected up here. Coalescence over the point transcendence. Now Boston Uprising going to respond with some of their support ultimates they save from the prior fight. And Casper got another Dragon Blade here. The man has done everything in this fight. Completely shut down the Los Angeles Valiant's win condition coming in with a reflex. But the Valiant, they've got grip. They're holding on as long as they possibly can. Agility's whole hog fate goes down, but Striker got caught in the mix and was blown up by his own pulse bomb ultimately. Gamsu now 500 HP with that Primal Rage. It might be a struggle for him here to hang around. He is stalling for a decent amount of time, but the Valiant get it done.
Barely.
Oh man, I mean, yeah.
Dream
style
Casper
points
almost
for that
made
one.
he almost made the play there, reflecting the grab. That was funny. I saw the grab come down, and then I was like, I believe that is Soon inside of that grab.
I'm looking at Soon sitting inside his own grab in a prison of his own design, and I can't repeat what I know he would have been thinking or saying. He would have been very displeased.
So they moved off a quad tank. They'll have Soon play Tracer. Most likely that was just in the last point to get him back into the fight.
They've given Boston time to set up here, Matt. This is going to be a little bit difficult to try and sort of outweigh their positioning. You see Gamsu avoid or survives getting cooked and then is able to land on top of Soon, so that's an excellent trade. Fate would love an Earthshatter, but why would Boston give him that big opportunity? You can see they're just going to surround him, play wide, avoid the arc of that Earthshatter. He's on the point on his own right now, but he will be dealt with in due time as his Striker's coming forward, Blink behind him. Just forcing to turn his shield. Wishful thinking, my friend. Wishful thinking.
Do you give up these ultimates? Do you give up Sound Barrier and do you give up Earthshatter? Agilities will switch. Yep, so you gave up the Earthshatter. You're going to actually keep Turbo, and you're going to use the Sound Barrier here, so.
Well, I mean, something to be said also for having Verbo on, you know, a hero that he's more familiar with.
Comfortable with, yeah.
This is a critical juncture. I think I'll be putting it lightly. And Soon now, he's zoned out Neko, so he's dimly aware of Neko on his right-hand side right now. You can see he's going to turn back to him and just give him another live tap. Just let him know who's daddy, and then he heads back towards the point. But it just doesn't matter. He's been doing a good job keeping Neko out of the fight, but Neko doesn't need line of sight always to have an impact. And the rest of the Boston Uprising just smash the Valiant on the point.
And they don't even need his healing because you have Kellex up in the sky using Valkyrie.
And honestly, like, Orb of Harmony persists for long enough that he can run away for a couple seconds and then reapply.
And then, yeah, he can just go back and heal yet again. Dream Casper moved off of 76 prior to that fight, playing the Junkrat now. So see if he tries to get control of the high ground here, as now Verbo will switch over to Mercy. So, but you're gonna have what? Like, I mean, the Boston's already had like 3 Valkyries. You're probably gonna get what, 2 here for the Valiant, and even at the end, Kelly's probably going to get another 2.
Gamsu's farming him so much, Valk, by the way. All right, Note opens up. He puts that self-destruct in a position where essentially Agilities and Kareem were dead to rights either way. If you put it just on the corner of one of those, you know, I don't know, walls or whatever, it will affect both sides of that wall to a great degree, unless you're really sharply close to it on an angle. So, rough, no doubt about it. Again, just notice how Gamsu plays as well. Kellex is able to get a lot of healing for free, because Gamsu likes to get in, but always has a tool to get out. He starts off on the high ground, so he has his jump to get out of the fight. Just little things like that. This guy. Watch this guy.
Agilities moves and plays 76 now, so I'm gonna see how he goes on hit scan.
I mean, 76. Yeah. Cyber, you know, he's the classic shooter soldier.
It's just how do you get him in the high ground to be successful against Dream Casper's?
Oh, look at
Junkrat. Oh, they land a pulse bomb there onto Envy. He's going to get D-Mech. That's pretty much going to stop everything for the Valiant.
But see, what's big about that is he had the jump so he could pursue Envy and get that extra damage and ensure there was a D-suit, because he dropped down on the high ground instead of using a jump to engage on in the first place. The Los Angeles Valiant losing a suited Diva, this is how much they respect having a Diva present. They're not doing anything. They actually probably have sent Envy back to spawn to get a resuit because they can't afford to wait. They have. Envy's had to switch characters in spawn to get back in his mech. And time to spare.
And Striker's done an unreal job farming his pulse bomb. That's crazy. So Striker is getting a pulse bomb. The time right now for him to generate, it's under a minute. 56 seconds to get a pulse bomb. And it's literally a pulse bomb every fight, pretty much.
Dream Casper and Striker have 24 final blows. The Valiant has 23 final blows. Yeah, that's the way it goes. It's all in the numbers sometimes, Matt. And Dream Casper can take his time with that ties. Just for deterrence sake, but And in the midst of that, Kellex was picked off, so they're not going to have the resurrect. They need to stall out a little bit longer until he gets back into the fight with the Valkyrie. But soon now, he senses blood, it's in the water, and he wants a bit more. He's found Casper, and he found Striker, so he's dealt with both of the DPS players on his own. Gamsey might have to primal race here on the point to stall it out, and he does, but he's knocked off of it here, giving the Valiant a little bit more time to pressure on that point. Envy being desuited, had the Hall of Harmony, it's not going to keep him up for long.
Yeah, but Boston with this combination of the Primal Rage plus their Valkyrie is going to be able to get back to full strength.
1-6.
Everybody live, the attack visor out for agilities, doesn't get anything with it.
Green Casper now on the Doomfist here as well, going to get extra damage if he knocks his target into the walls. You can see he's laying the damage on thick, but when his cooldowns are up, he kind of stands around there looking like a stunned mullet, waiting for someone to deliver their own brand of justice. Soon, living on the edge there, very low on that HP. It looks like all the Valiant have been cleared off. Kareem tried for it, Envy's now back. That Diva mech that the Valiant values so highly just gets cast aside, as does the rest of that Los Angeles attack. Listen. This Boston team are the real deal. They are the real deal. All this stuff, pre-season about them coming last, we all did it. I did it. I put it in my power rankings. We were wrong. People need to wake up now and realize that these guys are out here and they're hungry.
They have such a strong team. And the Valiant come in the favorites, but the Boston Uprising find themselves up 2-0 after some great play from Dream, Casper, and Striker. Can they keep it going after the break?
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. It's the last halftime of the day, and this has so far been a very fun match to watch. Boston Uprising coming out and shocking everybody in this room. Boston fans, where you at?
I heard you. It was louder when the cameras weren't on you, but we'll see you throughout the rest of this match. They're coming in 2-0, and they need just one more map to lock up this whole series. LA has been in this situation in the past before. If you remember the Gladiators, they were down 0-2 at the half. They rattled back 3, took it to a Game 5, and stole that series. Let's talk about the action so far, though, as we go to Eichenwald. Take a look at some of the highlights here from this game. Talk me through some of the early thoughts here, Johnny, watching these two teams match up.
Well, some early thoughts was that Dreamcasper were just on fire on the Pharah. Well, initially Agilities got some shots as well, but as the map went on, I think the Dreamcasper took over, and I mean the highlights just kept rolling in from Dreamcasper. He got picks on Soon repeatedly, and Soon didn't have the impact we desired at the start of the game.
I feel like this is the most Pharah v Pharah I have seen on Eichenwald as well.
Yes, but it's partly because Agilities isn't really comfortable swapping to any hit scan heroes, and he can't play the Genji, he can't play the Junkrat, because he can't deal with Dreamcasper within the air. So Agilities is forced onto Pharah as well, and I think that Pharah isn't necessarily one of Agilities' better heroes, even though he's sort of decent at it. He had a few plays, the shots just aren't coming in, and Dreamcasper was a bit off himself, but it's not necessarily top-tier Pharah gameplay, I would say, throughout the series.
Sideshow, we mentioned that Silk Thread is out today for the match. He's at home sick. Do you think if he was in the lineup, we would see a different outcome on this map?
Oh, we'd certainly see a different composition or a different strategy, I think, coming out. Silk Thread also can play the Pharah, and he's arguably a little better than Agilities at it. But really, when you looked at how that Pharah v Pharah was going, in the regulation time, it wasn't like Dreamcasper was playing way better than Agilities. But they're so good at, as soon as they've captured that A point, being able to roll it forwards. And here's the overtime push, time back. Dreamcasper hits just a damage boosted rocket out of nowhere, gets the pick on Soon. And then as they're coming through, hits so many of these crucial rockets to apply pressure. And then this,
Verbo pops Valkyrie as well. That's Valkyrie gone in overtime.
Yeah, it's so clutch. That's the thing. Dreamcasper didn't have fantastic performance the whole match. It was that he came out with unreal clutch performances just when it mattered. It was insane. It's kind of akin to what we see from his Genji, but he's more consistent, I think, with the Genji. So, you know, if you catch him on a bad day, maybe his Pharah doesn't look so good, but if you can pull out stuff like that when it matters, what are you going to do?
His Dragon Blade's getting him about 4 kills per ultimate. You know, his Pharah ult only getting 2.5. Good stuff, though, from Dreamcasper. And the whole Boston squad, they come out and set the tone early. So now you got map 1 in the books. Let's take it to map number 2. And as we loaded up Horizon, for me, I wanted to see what is Boston going to bring on the attack. Right away, Envy snuffs it out on the Roadhog, is able to get the first pick, but slowly Boston starts to grind away at it.
Yes, I was actually very excited going into this map because I thought Eichenwald was Boston Uprising's map to win. So I thought, okay, this map, Agilities can stick to the Junkrat, he can perhaps go some Roadhog when they're playing quad tanks, and he's feeling more comfortable. But then Boston Uprising, I mean, okay, reflected Graviton, Soon sits there, can't do anything about it. So I was expecting Los Angeles Valiant to be way more dominant this map, but Boston Uprising, once again, via those clutch plays, they just grabbed the momentum of the map.
I think that reflected Graviton was also League history being made right there. I have not seen one yet, and I've been at this desk quite a bit throughout the regular season. Shout out to that, it caught our producer off guard. You can do that? Yeah, you can do that, and soon found out the hard way. So let's talk a little bit about what's going wrong here for this Valiant squad, Josh. Talk me through some of the issues that you saw throughout Horizon.
Yes, so on Horizon, when they were defending, I want to pull up a point about Envy and Verbo here, because we saw these are two guys that they struggle a little bit in the lineup previously, and now we had some question marks. So here you can see Envy is going on a crazy wild spree, trying to take down Striker and Neko and Kelix, who are in the back line. Verbo comes in to resurrect him to try and kind of reverse that horrific overextension that Envy had done, and he gets picked off. Now, just to break that down for you, Striker and the 2 supports were stuck behind, and they end up winning because Envy runs into them thinking he can take a 1v3, fails, and then they get Verbo as well when he gets baited in. This is catastrophic levels of mistakes from LA Valiant, actually, that have tipped the fight, because these two teams, I think, are actually super even when they're playing at their top level, but LA Valiant are making mistakes that the discipline side of Boston just aren't at all.
Yes, and immediately after that, we can take a look at another clip, which actually, Boston Uprising, they have no right whatsoever to actually tap point B, because they use a lot of ultimates here. Kelix has popped the Valkyrie, and they're going to resurrect Gamsu. So 30 seconds cooldown, no resurrect available. Boston Uprising has no resurrects through the entire fight, so Dreamcasper, he just comes in clutch. He just got 3 with the Dragon Blade and just caps point B because they were able to just kill the Los Valiant team so quickly. They have no time to get back to stagger the point at all. And I mean, Boston Uprising, you're not allowed to actually cap point B that fast. They have no right to, because they're not using any Valkyrie, any Resurrect whatsoever in this meta. But still, Dream Casper comes out clutch again.
It's not supposed to work that well for them, and as you saw that kill feed, Dream Casper, Striker,
Yep.
Striker,
All
Dream
the
Casper,
time.
Striker. These 2 DPS stars are going off, and they couldn't get it done without the help of their whole team. I do want to ask real quickly, we talked about Verbo yesterday filling in. Unko was on the sideline for the Valiant. We saw Karib formerly playing the Mercy, now he's over on Zenyatta. Do you think Envy is playing the same way he has in the previous matches, but not getting the heals he expected from a guy like Karib that normally would have been with him in that scenario?
I'm actually not that of a huge fan of Envy, because a lot of people are like, oh, Envy is one of the better of tanks. I know that Bren is very fond of Envy, but he has tendencies to actually roam a bit too much. His Zarya play isn't exactly on point, so sometimes it just happens to overextend, perhaps to run a bit off to the side, and that's what we saw now. And that tricks Verbo, who hasn't perhaps played as much as Unko has this season, and it just leads to catastrophes because of these small, minor mistakes. So it just leads one mistake to another.
Sideshow, has it been the tanks, has it been the healers, or has it been the DPS that is the reason Boston is ahead right now 2-0?
So it is the DPS, in my opinion. It's the DPS, but also the kind of system and discipline that they're playing in. Because when we talk about this idea of Soon playing against Striker and the back and forth that happened between them, but also Dream Casper and Striker are pushed so far up when they try and get the snowballs rolling that they focus down the first players to trickle in, and Soon was just obliterated so many times here. They had decent performances shutting down Striker at the beginning of the game, but then they just destroyed Soon. Soon had 15 deaths at the end of Eichenwald, and Striker only had 9. In terms of the 1v1, Striker was 7 to Soon's 4 kills on him. They were really abusing Soon towards the end of this, just working in tandem, pushing up ahead of their team. They know that Soon's going to go for these flanks, and they punish it. We really haven't seen a team be able to punish it that much. But man, the guy's talking about Striker being one of the best DPS. The other thing to mention, Puckett, is that these guys were nobodies before the Overwatch League.
Right.
Where were they? They weren't on any top teams, and then they come in here, they get picked up by Boston, and they're absolutely slaughtering. This has got to go down as 2 of the best pickups in the whole of Overwatch.
It's pretty amazing stuff, and big shout out to all of the management over at Boston. They put together a squad of players that they thought were hungry, that were coachable, that were willing to learn and to win with time. They didn't need immediate success, but they're starting to find it now against the Valiant. They're on match point. I'm running out of energy, so let's wrap this up, reinforce what happens in the second half.
I think Boston Uprising will at least get one of the 2 maps. It looks very grim for Los Angeles, and it's going to be an uphill battle for sure. So I just suspect Boston will get either the control map or the hybrid map, excuse me. So yeah, it's a win for Boston.
The Valiant's done it once. Can they do another reverse sweep? Can they take this in a game 5?
I think they potentially can. I said one of my keys to victory for Boston was going up 2-0 at the half. They've managed to complete that so far. But we're going into Oasis, slightly favored towards LA Valiant, I think. And then Junkertown is such a crazy map that really anything can happen. The best case scenario for Boston here, obviously apart from just finishing it in the second half, I would say rather the silver lining is that the best that LA Valiant can do is push it to a game 5. And they've looked decent on Lijiang as well. So Boston have got a good chance to, even if they don't take these 2 maps, take it in a game 5. I think we might be going the whole distance here, though.
I would love another game 5. We'll see if it comes our way tonight. The other half is coming up, but as we wrap halftime, we want to shout out one of our players, Baby Bay. We got a chance to sit down with him and talk about what he uses in the game of Overwatch. Today, it's all about the crosshairs and game sets, sponsored by Omen by HP.
Baby Bay has just been on the fire. Whoa, Baby Bay! It's the Baby Bay show already here on San Francisco Shock come out on top.
My name is Andre Baby Bay Francisti, and I play for the SF Shock. So the top 4 heroes I play is Genji, McCree, Pharah, and Widowmaker. I have different settings on all of them. I change the crosshairs So with McCree, I tend to keep a very small crosshair, and I feel like it's the best for that hero because you need to be very precise. And then the Widowmaker, which is completely different. I actually have a very small circle, just the size about like every hero's head in the game.
Baby Bay continues to hit headshot after headshot.
My favorite crosshair is a big circle with a dot in the middle. I think that's the default crosshair. Then my Genji crosshair, I just change it like all the time. So it just works for me, you know, I'm able to hit a lot of hard shots with it. So in terms of graphic settings, I need the game to be very smooth. A V-Sync you want off, triple buffering off. The render scale, it's automatically at 141%. You don't want that, that's gonna kill your computer, like unless you work at NASA. So you want this at 75. The HP Omen PCs that Blizzard supplies us, you don't have to go down to 75% render scale. I still personally, like even if I have a god tier PC, I still lower my settings because there's like stuff like mouse lag that'll affect your game. When it comes to aiming itself, I have a sensitivity that I use, it's 9. I use this because it gives me like complete control. Like if I swipe like one really long swipe, it's like a 180 for me. And I feel like that's how you want to gauge your sensitivity. If you want to be able to like turn around and do all these things while still having control of your aim. At the end of the day, settings is all personal preference. You want to be comfortable when you're out there playing, whether it's at home, you're on stage, you know. You just want to be comfortable because you don't want anything to set you off.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blizzard Esports Arena here in lovely sunny Burbank. It's the end of week 4 of the Overwatch League, and Matt, that means that we're getting very, very close to the pointy end of the season. Of course, our playoffs are looming
which the Boston Uprising still have a chance at the Stage 1 playoffs, right? I mean, they would need some help, obviously. They would probably need to win out from here on, through the end of the season next week. But they are still in it for the Stage 1 playoffs. It's unbelievable to see, not really just kind of talking about the team in general, right? Like, I mean, we knew these players were good coming in. We didn't think, they were going to be as poor as they were predicted to be. But I don't know if anyone expected them to be as good as they are, right? I think people probably said, I think you're underrating Boston. They finished middle of the pack. I don't know if people would have thought they finished potentially in a playoff spot, but I gotta say, I know Gamsu has been great as a main tank. You have that great DPS combo with Striker and Dreamcasper, and I know in this series specifically, we've seen Kelix play a really good Mercy.
You want to know something interesting as well about Gamsu in that last map? He blocked about 4 times the damage that Fate did with his Winston projector barriers. 4 times the damage. Definitely getting a lot more value out of those, and it's the little things. It's the 1%ers, we call them back home, that make a big difference. Also, Kelix only died twice on the entirety of Horizon, so that's pretty nice. He's once
Mercy,
again,
that's crazy.
Put up a really good performance. But again, the Valiant have always looked comfortable on Oasis, man. Control has definitely been a place where they've felt very capable. And we're heading there right now. Again, this is where Los Angeles try and keep themselves alive in this series. They drop this map, it's all over but the crying.
You pretty much know what Boston's going to do here. It's just whether you think Dreamcaster's going to play Pharah or Genji. It's really kind of what you're determining if you're the Los Angeles Valiant. The LA Valiant, they probably will have agility. Okay, so it looks like they're going to go with that double off tank setup. You've seen a lot of teams do here. You have D.Va and Roadhog. Neither of them considered main tanks. You have agilities who will play Pharah, and you have Verbo playing the Mercy just attached to his head.
All right, so throwback to that first map, we saw some rather intense Pharah face-offs. Oh, it's all right. No can get himself back up on there. A lot of damage. Agilities, I think, took a rocket from his blind side there. That's 2 in a row from Dreamcasper, pressuring Agilities down, forcing him out of position as well. Notice that now Casper's standing in between Agilities and the rest of the map.
And I think what'll be telling here for the Valiant is whether they're able to pick, I was going to say Gamsu off, because this comp is built for the Valiant to just take advantage of Gamsu if he's being over-aggressive, right? You have that hook that can come in from Roadhog, and you can just choke him down. Really just give Gamsu a lot of troubles here as the Valiant to take the point. Still have Striker though, he's lurking. He actually...
This fight's not over yet.
No, they get a pick on Fate. Now they're going to start to come back in.
Both pushing forward, soon down to 67 HP. Wants to save his recall, so just opts to back away instead. And the Uprising, again, want to kind of take the point away. There's no point just standing and stalling because the enemy team has control of the point. Now they finally go down. Casper falls too soon. Envy, they're on cleanup duty, and this is looking much more like Los Angeles Valiant we expect to see on Oasis map. Now they have control. They're very, very, very quickly building towards some of those big ultimates. Kareem there actually had the Transcendence drawn out of him, which I find curious in that last fight.
It's okay though, because Neko actually switches off of Lucio and go to Zenyatta, so you kind of reset his ultimate economy in terms of getting those support ults. So you're just looking at Kelix and Verbo here. Kelix getting closer to Valkyrie, but both players providing Verbo doesn't fall. Should get a Valkyrie in this next fight.
Soon now. Just get to a reminder that Casper is playing up high. Oh, he's taking 2 rockets there and forced his recall early in the fight. Now, notice he plays more passively. He just kind of lobs the pulse bomb in from range because he knows he doesn't have a get out of jail free card, essentially. Striker found Envy with his pulse bomb because he was actually able to be more aggressive and ensure that he stuck it. Soon just kind of got set back just from eating 2 rockets at the start of this fight.
Verbo actually kind of snuck in, and he was sitting right on top of Envy's body there, and Note realized it right away, chased him in, prevented potentially, like, I know, rezzing your Roadhog and your D.Va, having them stall it out for a little bit longer, where the Valiant could have gained some more ultimate percentage. The Valiant will have a Rocket Barrage, and they'll have their Valkyrie, that huge Mercy ultimate right now, obviously playing on the previous patch with Stage 1, out on that before we get to the live patch in Stage 2.
Oh, Casper there. He's rear-ended. The dude is coming into a blaze of glory, but he puts himself in the most vulnerable position possible for a Pharah, and no resurrect here. Verbo looks like he has a Valkyrie. There it is. It's coming in, but now Casper wants to get rid of him. Swats him aside. A dude gets taken down. I don't think I've seen that in a long time. That was filthy.
Dreamcasper makes a big play there, but it's really Note. Note is actually sitting under Agilities when he's using the Rocket Barrage in the sky, and just defense matrixes straight up and eats all of that damage. That was such a sick play from Note.
I yell a lot, but you know when I'm sounding like that, then I'm really starting to freak out. That was quite an incredible passage of play. It's been a long time since I've seen anything like that. And it's not at the end of the round, you know what I mean? So it doesn't seem nearly as epic, but that was just back-breaking.
Well, they used their Valkyrie during that fight, so it's a huge win there for Boston. As Striker takes out Fade at the beginning, it's going to allow time for Neko to get close to Transcendence. Kellex builds up another Valkyrie, as Boston will take the lead now in terms of percentage.
Still collecting myself here for just a moment. I mean, the fact that Agility is so aggressive, but as soon as you hit Barrage, Matt, you're suspended in midair. Your rockets aren't going to necessarily hit your target, and Casper was protected by his teammate. I mean, these guys don't even know, it's not just even knowing how to dive, but also how to back each other up and actually peel for one another so well. Notice just emerging as a superstar in his own right when people barely knew his name when he first appeared. That's what I love about the Overwatch League.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Callie is a very good off-tank in his own right, but No's made a big difference. Valkyrie will bring Dreamcaster right back up. The self-destruct has launched up in the sky.
Straight away, Casper gets bombed. There's no way the Valiant want to deal with him. And Kellex brings Casper back for the second time. This time he gets to hang around a little bit longer. The Valiant are on the capture, and then Casper dies. By the way, he dies 3 times in that fight. Twice to Agilities, once to Soon. And finally, the Valiant have managed to deal at least with him. But Agilities has a barrage. He actually goes for it. Defense Matrix was an issue, and no, just fights in the shade. He just fights in the shade. And because the Pharaoh was hovering over the point, the Boston Uprising win the round. He wasn't close enough to the ground to keep it contested while he was using the barrage.
Tanks of the Boston Uprising have been extremely impressive during this match. One more round on Oasis, they'll take the series. It's just a matter of what kind of match, and potentially a 4-0 if they were able to take it here on Oasis. But note with that huge play, defense matrixing that rocket barrage with Dreamcaster out, able to take him, take Agilities out of the equation there, man. Note's been such a, I was going to say, they were playing Kalios quite often earlier in the season, right? Yes. Kalios, a very good Zarya player, known for Zarya. He's playing Diva for this team. But it seems like they've just leveled up a little bit since putting Note in the lineup.
We had something different, something that really, he's very supportive as well in a lot of ways. He stays alive, crucially. He has what, I think it was at the stat count before, he has like the lowest death per 10 on this map of any other player. So the fact that your Diva stays alive for as long as they do, now that depends, is it Mech staying alive or, Mini Diva staying alive? Could differ, regardless, it's still an impressive stat.
And Neko actually takes out Soon here at the beginning, and he dies right to the right of Striker, so Striker just camping this body, not gonna be able to get the res back onto Soon, just waiting in case Verbo just darts down and Striker would have finished him off.
Definitely the more TV appropriate way to mark his territory, that's for sure. Has himself a pulse bomb, doesn't need to use it on Fake, because Fake just gets blown up. It feels like the Valiant are kind of reeling after that last round.
And Agilities may have to switch here, they have Dreamcaster playing McCree on the other side. He's so good at so many heroes. Nope, he's gonna go over to Genji.
He's that new breed, like Casper and Baby Bale, these players that have projectile and hit scan heroes under their belts and just bang them out whenever they need to.
Yeah, it used to be, I only play hit scan or I only play projectile. I feel like now,
it was only a thing because people agreed that it was a thing. Everyone was like, oh yeah, look, it's one or the other, right? It's like, well, why can't both?
Dreamcaster up top with the Deadeye. He's gonna get jumped pretty fast. It'll be the Valkyrie that comes out from Kellex. Just trying to keep everybody up.
Oh, see ya!
Flashbang there. And Boston just rolling right now. They're able to take that fight. They did end up using their Valkyrie and their Pulse Bomb. Coming into the next fight, you'll have both support ults, most likely. For the Valiant, Verbo needs to be careful not to get caught with this Deadeye as he's flying through the sky.
And man, we've got a big, rabid, excitable, group of LA locals in here. Valiant fans, and they'd love nothing more than to get loud, but when their teams get turned into dog food in front of them, it's very, very hard to, to sort of big up and get excited about this. The Boston Uprising are stifling not only the Valiant, but also their fans. This is incredible. Again,
Casper getting pressured out.
Stuck. Goes down. I think it was being rezzed. He is brought back up. That was actually a very similar situation to what we saw before when Casper actually got the flash and the kill on Soon. But this time he goes down. NVT Suitor, Agilities with the Dragon Blade, found Casper, just swooped past on the way through. Swift Strike, plus one more cut of the blade will do the job. So the Genji now, is that the answer here? Is that the answer against the McCree?
They're going to get this to 99% though. Yeah, Note with a self-destruct, Gamsu with Primal Rage. Striker dancing here as well. They get it to 99%. Now it'll be the Valiant to take control. Look over at the top of the screen. Kareev holds on to Transcendence. That's huge for the Valiant. Soon with a Pulse Bomb, and Fate has Primal Rage. So Fate should be able to stall us out a little bit in case they get into trouble. Boston still with this Deadeye. Deadeye, I feel like, is a difficult ultimate to use, especially when you have the dive that comes in for the side of the Valiant. That's like, where do you kind of position yourself where you can make a big play?
Soon struggled this round, has been a long way behind Striker in terms of defense. He's just throwing that pulse bomb away straight into the defense matrix. He's always checking that left side for Striker, by the way, because he knows he's close by. Striker gets aggressive, but prevents Soon from having to, get chunked down. He didn't have recall available, so it's just while the Mercy was there. He found Casper, though. They at least managed to get 2 players on top of that McCree, but he's going to get brought back immediately. Kellex goes for the Valkyrie in that fight. Soon, he's going to have his self-destruct dropped on the point. Open up a little bit of space here for the Valiant, and they're still chasing Casper. Soon knows better than to get too close.
And they got Verbo at the beginning, so you didn't have an opportunity for a res during that fight. Neko will take out Fate.
I mean, Soon has to go ham here. He needs to get Neko. He needs to at least get past the Zenyatta. He's got him, but he needs to get onto the point. There's another player on the point, and then overtime, still being held in stasis for the time being. I don't think there's any coming back from this one, though, Matt. Soon is one of the only players left here for the Valiant. He tries, but Striker finds him. Headshot with the double pass pistols, and that's all she wrote. Like I said, Boston gave us a moment there in that first round that had me screeching like a banshee, even more than usual. It's saying something.
Yeah.
The Valiant now look broken. They look forlorn.
The Boston Uprising have taken this series. It's just a matter of whether it's going to be a 4-0. Potential for this Boston Uprising team. These players just formed. Just at the beginning of the Overwatch League, they haven't had much time to practice just yet. Just imagine what they are going to look like as the season goes on.
Astonishing. Dream Casper just going ham. Both of these teams are going to be 5 wins and 3 losses after this game. What a matchup. One more map. Let's hope it's half as explosive as that previous one. We'll see you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Everybody loves the story of hometown heroes, but perhaps an underdog story is even nicer. The problem is that perhaps Boston never really were underdogs coming into this. You know, we talk about them being a less of a known quantity, but this team and their coaches, most importantly, have developed from literally a ragtag group of players with, you know, minimal high-level experience over multiple games into, like, this is why coaching is so important in Overwatch, by the way, because they've managed to make this transition. I'm gushing, but that's because they're just performing so beautifully here in this series.
And there's something to be said too for you know, Huck, right? Being a professional gamer himself, you know, traveling all over the world, living in different spots, knowing how to, you know, most you know, comfortably adjust yourself to like new living situations, right? Like get everything like, you know, set up and ready, and you know, a lot of teams, right? Like you just kind of get here and then like you just, you know, you have the players, they're all set up in their houses and whatnot, but it's just still hard to adjust being so far away from home, where I feel like, you know, Huck kind of created this like real family vibe with Boston.
Here's the thing, like, and it's not to say that there wasn't a degree of self-belief there, but if you asked Huck at the start of the season, he looks at you and he goes, well, Mitch, this is how it goes. Either I'm a genius or I'm looking for a job after season 1.
Right now he's looking like a genius.
He's looking like a genius, and I can hardly bear it.
Ah, I love that.
It's killing me. But he's done well here, and Junkertown will be the last map of this particular series now. Again, this map pool, all good for Valiant. They're all legitimately good maps for the LA Valiant. But they haven't been able to shine on them. Again, being down 2 players, that really hurts. Being down, you know, being down your Unco, being down your Silk Thread, I mean, while you may be not losing firepower, raw firepower, not having Silk Thread in the roster, you definitely lack some flexibility, like we discussed earlier on. We saw Agilities have to step into the 76 role. And again, normally, you know, it would be, I think nowadays it would be Kareev, Mercy, and Unco on the Zenyatta here as well. So having, I mean, you still got to seek flexibility.
You do. I mean, Kareev is still sick. I think you just miss out on, you know, Unco's just ability to stay alive. It's just positioning a little bit. I think that's really where you miss Unco. So he's also a tremendous Zenyatta player, right? If he gets a chance to play it. Looks like Boston here will be on offense. You'll have Gamsu play Orisa. Striker will play Roadhog here. We rarely see Striker move off of Tracer.
Oh, he's sat on the whoopee cushion as soon as he come out of spawn there, but taking a quick breather will get him back in fighting shape. What are you looking for, Casper? He's trying to thread the needle there, isn't he? Won't find the kill. I think he is aware of where Soon is. He's waiting for it, mate. He's ready for it. Misses the shot there as well. I think one of his teammates, the character models, kind of obscured his target a bit. But, okay, the LA Valiant have given up a fair bit of space. They're going to need to clamp down now and start fighting. They're going to have to go real soon. This is Riptide that's going to hurt. Striker just eats it, though. Agility, that's all he's going to get out of it. He had no choice. You could have gotten past him with that tire, surely. He explodes it regardless on the Roadhog. And now Striker's back to do some more work, and Note being brought back.
They have gotten Neko off of the payload, though, playing the Bastion. So Fate will take him out. Dreamcatcher will take out Soon. They have to be careful now not to just get picked off at different angles. Striker on the Roadhog goes on a flank. Kellogg will use his Valkyrie. Bring Gamsu back into the fight. See who he decides to use it on next, as this triple tank just moving on forward for Boston.
That's it. This is what you do, get in the enemy face there. Whole hog obviously makes you kind of vulnerable sometimes, but notice that Kellogg is healing Striker through all of this. So despite the fact that Striker can't take a breather himself, he just needs to churn out the damage like an organ grinder with really bad music taste. They've made very good progress. Casper gets picked off though. This might be the resurgence. Oh, so many grenades, but still Agility's Demolition Derby gets put to an early end. He's brought back up by Verbu now, who has that Valkyrie. And finally, Boston are corralled, sectioned off from one another, and picked off. The Boston Uprising have to start again.
And the fight's over at that point. Neko will switch to Zenyatta. Gamsu still with the supercharger. We'll see if he stays on Orisa, or if he'll switch off of it. It's interesting. They're just dropping the Bastion, but still going with this triple tank composition. Kareev will have Transcendence. Agility is getting close to another tire. There's the supercharger, going to give some extra damage in the front. Only going to give it to Note and Gamsu right now, and Neko does earn the
he's caught him on the way
with
through.
a nice shot there on the suit.
Riptire might have saved the situation, but Agilities was taken down as well as his tire on the way. Dream Casper's not having any of it. Gamsu's supercharger now no longer in effect. Obviously does help your Widowmakers, for example, get those insta kills. Actually, that supercharger's turned out to be a lot more helpful than people realize, especially when it comes to Deadeye or any of those other abilities. But Note's up here on the payload. Envy's just going to get cut down. He can't save himself with the whole hog churning. And now Note's going to get little bit up close and personal with old mate Sue.
And Agility's dies. Oh, he finally got some. Agility's dies in a spot where he's able to get resurrected, and Verbo actually goes for the res. Guardian Angels over to Agility. The issue is Note sees him, swoops on in, blasts him off of Agility's body, and that forces Verbo to go all the way back through the backside of that choke.
Agility's has had 2 Riptires that have ultimately fizzled or had very little impact. The first one went straight into, you know, Striker's rotund figure, and the second was picked off by Dreamcastle with, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, just the Widowmaker sitting back. I don't think the damage boost from the Supercharger was a factor. It was a low HP tire, of course.
Changes come in here for the Valiant. They'll have Fate play Winston. Agilities will play Genji here. They're going to try and get really aggressive. Dive on the Uprising. Kellex will use Valkyrie at the beginning of the fight.
Karoof takes a bit of a shot there, but Casper was barely charged up, so not too much damage. That would have been a nice pick there as the Genji went charging him, but Agility's just trying to get in the thick of it now as well. Getting around it. Dream Casper, okay. Going to be Striker that comes to the rescue. Bails his buddy Casper out of trouble there. The pulse one was dropped on Gamsey, but it was fortified, so he's taking significantly less damage than the otherwise would have. Striker knew where he'd be! Oh, the predictive hook, that's lovely. Soon just recalls straight into that one. 3 seconds prior, or however much it is, I believe it's 3, Striker knew exactly where he'd be. Verbo with Valkyrie, but I think there's too many bodies to res here.
The Transcendence that comes in for the Uprising. I think it's just a matter of time. Agility's with a blade. He's behind enemy lines here, but this would be a true hero play if he pulled it out. He'll hold on to it soon. Shitfall here, it's a 1-on-6. Boston continues their move through Junkertown. They'll unlock final checkpoint. They take point B. Agility's with this blade, Mitch. No support ults on the other side. Just really look at Striker to make the difference here. Maybe Gamsu can like halt him.
Just wait for that Transcendence. Yeah. Just wait for the Transcendence. You've got 10%. It's been tough for Fate, to be honest, because when you're Winston sort of walking around, you can't put the shield down. If you put the shield down before you dive, you just can't dive, right?
Oh, and they use the self-destruct and they get Verbo here at the beginning. Neko will fall for the Boston Uprising. If you decide to use Transcendence plus Blade here, you just wait to get Verbo back in. And maybe the assault comes in.
Fair trade there. Agility's now Striker half HP taking a breather, so sure it's not really a big factor. Does get the finish off though. Roadhog down, Note's looking like, oh that's tricky, isn't it? So that kind of benefits the Valiant, to be honest, because Note just has to stay alive for longer. Seems to be okay with that one now. Envy got stunned. There's a quick peek down the stairs by Dreamcasper, who's just switched towards the McCree, and Agility thought he was being sneaky. Not so sneaky now, are you, my friend? Gets away at least. Almost did, but Note chases him down.
I thought the defense matrix from Envy was going to keep him alive. Now they decide to use Transcendence, and they'll bring Agilities back into the fight. Kellex will use his Valkyrie. Going to see Supercharger used here for the Boston Uprising as well. Agility still holding on to this Dragon Blade. Dreamcastle at such a rough spot to just get res right up into that corner.
Yeah, not really where you want to be, especially as McCree. You can't even respond quickly and get yourself out of trouble. Striker's found Fate there. We'll see Winston is very susceptible. What? Did that just stop in place? He must have driven it into the ground just to get it to do that. Now Envy is going to have to run away as much as he possibly can from Mode. He was definitely in hot pursuit, and the Valiant now need to regroup. That's what they're trying to do, but they've given so much ground to the Uprising for not much of a fight, really. Verbo, though, has the Valkyrie. Neko, though, has the Transcendence.
You didn't get a chance to use your own Dragon Blade with your own Transcendence and follow it up. Now Neko uses that Transcendence. Agility still with his blade. He drops at the hands of Striker.
I mean, this gives the payload. Look at the zoning impact of that ult, by the way. We use it as a joke, but all the Valiant were forced to head for the hills there. Dragon Blade, you can see a big roll back from Dreamcasper, but he deals with his assailant. Agilities was so close. The keen edge on his blade, looking for Casper's throat. And instead it was the McCree that comes out on top in that battle, and Kellex is very close to that Valkyrie. Verbo just gets splattered against the wall like a bad Rorschach test. And that's going to be it. 1:18 on the clock. The Boston Uprising get the map finished.
As you see a different look from the Uprising. Usually Striker always comes in. We'll play Tracer. See him play Roadhog here. Just a little bit of a different look from the Boston Uprising. You say maybe through the Valiant off guard, but I mean, still to finish this map, 1:18 in the time bank, and the first initial push was probably their worst and their slowest, right when they tried to run the Bastion. Once they switched off of Bastion, they were fine. I mean, they just moved the payload on through the rest.
There's some really good fundamentals here out of the Boston Uprising in general. Curiously enough as well, ultimately, in terms of total final blows for the team, they had like half. So the Boston Uprising got half of the kills of the Los Angeles Valiant.
Yes.
Curious indeed. Oh, wait a minute. No.
Yeah, I was
double.
Say,
Stat screen debated me.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was like, that can't be true.
Outdated. Frustrated.
So it'll be the Boston Uprising.
Emasculated.
On defense.
Excruciated.
So they'll run. Okay, so they're going to run triple tank on defense. It's just going to be a little bit different of a setup. So they'll have Kellic solo Gildas. So they'll have a lot of just big bodies with the 3 tanks to build up Valkyrie rather quickly. Dreamcasper will play Junkrat, Striker will play Widowmaker here. So usually you want the double support, but they're going to have Neko play the Roadhog here in this situation. Just showing off the versatility.
Oh, I love it! Boston Uprising. Again, it's all about unseating soon. So it's funny, some teams obviously use like their flex support player to play the Bastion role here, but instead the Valiant switch it up and have it the other way around. Kareev's the one that plays the Widowmaker, or at least here, and Soon's on the Bastion. It's so strange.
And Kareev is a sick Widowmaker player, so the first start with the Orisa shield here, down by their spawn, just trying to break Gamsu's shield and then push on through. It's like there's not like a flanker in position for Boston to make a play. So you're just looking at Neko, Dreamcasper, and Note Gamsu to just break the shield down. Oh, and then maybe a pick comes out from Striker, but it'll be Neko who takes out Agility. He's just trying to work around that right-hand side.
It's going to slow things up for the Valiant now. Lacking that Junkrat means their shield pressure is pretty much down to only the Bastion right now. And you can see their fate is not able to stay in that for too long. After the Los Angeles Valiant to force around the corner. Where is Soon right now?
He gets pushed all the way to the back left of the spawn, so...
Okay. So now these... Okay, yeah, back right. So now the rest of the Valiant need to surge ahead before Soon can do too much. Kareev fancied a bit of airtime. This might be the shot. Casper, there it is! Critical and clinical position from Kareev. Now they can capitalize here. Striker was there, takes a shot, it's returned in kind. Both Widowmakers there. Acknowledging each other's presence from the shot traded. And Envy now focusing on breaking down that Orisa shield. It's so hard for Gamsu to keep it up when there's a Roadhog bearing down, but Agilities is down again to Neko again.
Yeah, he keeps coming through that left-hand side, Neko, and what he does is just waits for the payload to push up a little bit, then goes around on the flank. It'll be Note who's trying to chase down Kareev here, getting him below. It'll be Dreamcasper uses the tire. Kellex does have Valkyrie.
Okay, I think Casper might be in trouble. Yeah, he's going to be jumped up by Envy here. Will it be a Resurrect? Because Envy will get burst out and might actually give some room for Kellex to go for it, but he hasn't gone for the Valkyrie quite yet. It's going to be a standard Resurrect from Kellex. They're holding the Mercy ult for the time being. Interesting. Soon now setting up. They want it for the tank mode. That's what we're going to need it. I think, yeah, Kellex is going to use it now. Actually gets cut down. Kellex had Valkyrie. He was using it. And only gets Gamsu resurrected as a result.
Yeah, he actually gets hooked in by Envy and finished off. Dreamcasper and Neko with 2 big kills. And even though they don't get much of anything with their Valkyrie, the Boston Uprising still able to hold on. Neko should find Verbo there, just hiding in the corner. The Valiant, though, Mitch, they will have their tank mode with Soon on Bastion, and they will have Verbo with his Valkyrie here. You're also going to have a Rip Tire, and you're going to have Inference Sight. So a ton of ultimates to combine to use to advance the payload. Nothing really on the board for the Boston Uprising.
Look at it, Notes there again. Defense makes just to keep Neko alive. It's how they turn that fight around. Casper comes to the rescue. Boston like a hive mind. Always knowing where to be and when.
Their positioning is very, very good.
Neko should have heard the Bastion, yeah.
Dreamcasper uses the mine, launch himself up, gain a little bit of vision. Oh, this could be a
he pulled him closer to the left to make sure he couldn't get away. That's cute. Appropriately named Neko.
Okay, so they've used their Rip Tire here. Did the Valiant Myth get sniped? So they don't get anything with it. They use 1 res as well.
Third time.
If Verbo uses Valk, he's only going to have 1 res. Kellex still has his, just gets his Valk back, but he has both reses, so.
Okay, Casper, let's see if you can do a little bit better. Sometimes you got to be patient with these rips. Up there. Up.
Roadhog doesn't care.
He just shoots it. Primary fire, the scrap gun, making short work of that improvised weapon. And Neko gets taken down. Envy kind of just appears out of nowhere. He's had a very, very big last couple moments.
Yeah,
Casper, the assassin doesn't connect with Verbo. The mine pulls up short, but the rest of his team haven't noticed. Sure that the call went out. Envy at least now is paying some attention to where Dreamcasper is, but he gets halted out. And yeah, Agility's there, delivers with plenty of explosive potential. Striker at least gets himself on towards that Bastion and is brought back to life, but so is Soon.
Gamsu will fall as well. The hands of Kareev. Kelix's Valkyrie runs out. Nico will retreat. It was not easy, but the Valiant should be able to take point A here. It doesn't look like a challenge will come out from the Boston Uprising. It looks like they're going to give this up.
This is so strange from the Valiant. They're normally so good at just getting that first point real quick on this particular map. Oh, no. Hook 2.0, ladies and gentlemen. Can't pull people in ways that would otherwise defy the laws of physics or create a wormhole, ultimately sucking all of creation into it.
The Valiant had to use a lot of ultimates though to get that done. I mean, now you're just down to your tire. You haven't really gotten much with it. To be quite fair, Dreamcast hasn't really got much with it. His as well. True. And Envy's whole hog. Kelix is always going to build towards that Valkyrie quicker. And here comes the self-destruct coming right into Envy. He's able to live on through it.
For the time being, Casper makes sure the job gets finished, but that's a lot of ultimates committed to that situation. Casper now starting to fight back a little bit after the Riptide already claimed Neko.
But you don't mind if you're Boston investing that many ultimates into this fight, because where the payload is, the Valiants are most likely going to have to change up a lot of their heroes, right? You're going to have to move, you know, at least 3 players off, potentially, which is going to reset their ultimates as well.
They are light years ahead of Los Angeles right now.
Yeah, so look, I mean, they had the trade-off, you know, Soon, Fate, and Agility, so you use all those ultimates, and Kareev as well. So you use all those ultimates, and you obviously waste all your ultimate abilities. You have to get charged back up yourself.
Waste or get minimum value.
Waste, get minimum value, but it forces the other team to reset, what, 5 players? Because of the position you stop the payload.
Los Angeles right now have a problem. Normally I like to consider problems deferred solutions. A friend of mine, Frank, taught me that one, but right now, I don't know if there is a solution in sight for the Valiant. They've got a minute, and oh, Casper! He's just adding insult to injury now. It's not even funny. It's making my shoulders contract up like I'm being tickled on the neck, Matt. That's what it makes me feel like seeing that.
Dreamcasper with another tire here. Kelix and Verbo, both with Valkyries for their respective teams. But Boston's still playing the solo support, so the fight extends for a very long time. Kareev will end up getting that Transcendence.
LA spawn close, but now it's time to start the fight. They need to get aggressive. They need that Eye of the Tiger they've been looking for so dearly. Soon goes down Ellie to the boot from Note, though, so the dive just completely fizzles out. Turbo's cut down. Striker sitting safe up on high. The Ivory Tower allows him to find an easy headshot on the Mercy. Verbo, at least, you know, thank God, didn't commit the Valkyrie, but now he's going to have to use it in this next fight because there's 9 seconds left. Striker was looking for an early pick a little bit further forward.
Yeah, for a second I thought he was going to try and get Verbo coming out of the spawn. Really would have thrown him off guard. The Valiant need to get towards that payload. Soon's there to touch.
Soon's on there, but eventually Soon's going to have to try and flank and actually get some of these picks. He can't be the one that's supposed to be shepherding the payload forward. In the meantime, though, Striker has so much room to operate. Agilities is getting aggressive, but he's solo already. Striker's benefiting from the healing of Kelix, and he gets up on a high perch here. Casper just loads down on Agilities, and the explosions are so real right now. Soon and Envy are both down. Resurrect's desperately coming in. Verbo needs to keep the boys up. Soon and Envy are back, but Envy gets desuited almost instantly. Dreamcasper is finally dealt with, and that Transcendence you were talking about for Kareev is now in play, but no, he's out there, he's getting it done. Oh, is he ever? It's gonna be the Boston Uprising. They hold up in the heat.
They get a 4-0 here against the Los Angeles Valiant. We talked about our game earlier, you know, the London Spitfire making a statement. This is a true statement game. Boston Uprising comes in here. They get a 4-0 against the Los Angeles Valiant. And I believe Fate actually had Primal Rage there at the end. Didn't get an opportunity to use it to potentially stall out the payload.
I mean, excellent combination. The 2 tank players for the Boston Uprising playing in tandem very nicely. Of course, Gamsu would note there, just holding the fort down. And you could see that by that point, the Los Angeles Valiant was so frazzled. They would do anything they could to try and get picks on Striker on that Widowmaker.
Yeah, I mean, Note was huge for Boston Uprising. Just comparing Note, his stats to Envy for this game. Note goes 39 eliminations, 16 final blows, only 3 deaths. Envy on the other side, 20 eliminations, 10 final blows, 11 deaths. Note with a tremendous game. He's made a huge impact since being put into the lineup.
Los Angeles Valiant may have lost their chance of getting into the playoffs with this loss. They moved to 5-3. The next 2 matches are Seoul and Shanghai next week. For the Boston Uprising, they themselves are 5-3. Up next for them is Philadelphia Fusion and the Houston Outlaws. I mean, it's not as if we really need to test Boston anymore. I think they've kind of proven to us, but next week they're up against some quality teams. But let's head over to the floor with Zoe and, of course, Note from the Boston Uprising.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, Note joining me congratulations to you and the Boston Uprising for taking that convincing victory. Now, you started this week going up against the Gladiators and sweeped in 4-0, and you continued this stroll through Sweep City with another 4-0 against the Valiant. Why do you think some people still underestimate you and your team?
I think people just think because we didn't come from big teams before, all of us didn't have big records from LANs or something, that they don't trust in a players that are skilled at what Huck saw. So I think as long as people realize now that we're not to be messed with, they're not to be underestimated, please practice for us. We're ready.
All right, well, you definitely made a statement on this stage this very week. Now, tomorrow, there's this little thing called Super Bowl going on, and it happens that Boston will go up against Philadelphia. It also just so happens that you guys are going to go up against Philadelphia Fusion next week in your match. Can I have predictions for both of those matches from you?
Both of them. I'm thinking definitely the Patriots are going to take this. I believe in their coach, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. They're going to carry that team super hard. And I think for Fusion, you can expect a really good game there, but I think we'll come out on top for it.
Well, we can't wait for both of those games. Thank you so much. Congratulations once more. Now let's head over to our desk to break down all the action.
Notes calling for another ring for Boston. Tonight, they get a massive victory over the hometown squad, the Los Angeles Valiant. Welcome back, everybody, to close out the night on Puckett alongside Reinforced and Sideshow. And let's get right into this as we look back at games 3 and 4. It was all Boston surprising us in the first half, going up 2-0. Dream Casper continued unrelenting pressure with this fire.
I mean, seriously, I can't even remember the last time a player came up so clutch in a match. I mean, he just turned it on Oasis even further. Going up against the Los Angeles Valiant on Eichenwalde, of course, I think that his Pharah versus Pharah rockets were a bit off. It took some time, but then on Oasis, I mean, he just took control. Striker turned up and had a 13-to-2 kill death ratio on Oasis as well, which went unnoticed really because we just focused on Dream Casper. So, I mean, ridiculous performance all around.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And when we talk about Dream Casper and Striker, there is an entire system behind them that facilitates them. But it's not so much that the rest of their team are also putting in big performances. I think it's that they're trying to make Dream Casper as big as he possibly can be because they know that he has that potential that he can hit. And then Striker's just kind of doing his own business on the side, making sure that his timing connects really nicely with them. And so the two together is just sublime. We might have to start talking about this in terms of, are they one of the best DPS duos in the league if they keep performing like this? It's against better opponents, Johnny, we might have to start talking about it.
Yeah, I want to see more Nako on Roadhog. He went off here on Junkertown. In general, though, I feel like this is a massive surprise. All three of our analysts predicted the Valiant today. What caught you off guard the most? Do you think this would have been different with the Valiant starting members, or is this really just Boston showing that they're playing on another level right now?
I mean, reflecting on this weekend, I think Valiant are kicking themselves, as well as Houston, of course, missing out on Linkster this weekend. Pretty big players missing for both of these teams, and I think it would have been a different match. But I don't want to sell Boston Uprising short, because when it came to it, I mean, Dream Casper turned on, Striker turned on, of course, so I don't want to sell Boston Uprising short here, but it could have made a big difference.
See, I don't think that it actually would have made a big difference. I think when we looked at the style that LA Valiant came into this with, I think that they were slightly unprepared for what Boston was going to throw at them. They hadn't worked on like their anti-dive stuff particularly. And then when they were going for the Pharah v Pharah, like that is going to be the same kind of outcome. I think Boston smack them around no matter what way it is. And in the end, it was just kind of an underestimation of what Boston are capable of. The entire way through the season, I mean, they lost to San Francisco Shock. They looked shaky in that game. They've had ups and downs. Yes, they beat London Spitfire, but that was only to take them 2 and 3. So weird stuff from Boston, but they're certainly reaching their heights.
At the end of that match, you heard in the interview, please practice for us. How often do you hear a player pleading for their opponent to get ready for the upcoming matches? Well, we do have to finish this match off with our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. He's back. He's beautiful. It's Dream Casper crushing Los Angeles Valiant.
I just hope we see the Dragon Blade. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Reflected, the Graviton Surge, of course. I mean, ridiculous performance. And as I said, I can't even remember the last time a player clutched so hard and came up for his team in Overwatch history. I mean, this was just a spectacular performance that we should just remember for a very long time.
4 different heroes played by Dream Casper throughout this matchup. Sideshow, for you, what was your favorite?
I always love watching him play the Genji, actually. This Pharah has been something more than we would have expected from him, because his Pharah performance normally is kind of average, I would say, and doesn't normally hit these ridiculous highs. But my God, did he have a performance today. But his Genji has been just consistently standout throughout the entire tournament so far. So this guy's coming up clutch every time.
Dream Casper's in the running for one of the best DPS in the league. Striker right there with them. This duo is dynamic, and Boston showing everybody that they deserve to be feared. After tonight's big victory over the Valiant, we see a major shakeup in the standings. You'll notice Philadelphia Fusion, well, you just got pushed over to that right column. Boston Uprising jumps into 5th place currently in our overall standings.
Yes, it is very close among all of these teams. Obviously, Seoul is now in the running. They're the front runner, I would say, for the playoffs of Stage 1 next week. So it is going to be very hard for Houston, Boston, Valiant, or Philadelphia to clinch that number 3 spot. But it's going to be an exciting week nonetheless, because we have all these mid-table teams facing each other. Going to be very close and exciting games.
4 squads at 5 and 3, all chasing a top 3 positioning here. Seoul currently the team to beat. And on Wednesday, the action picks up once again here at the Overwatch League. We get a chance to see, will the Valiant be able to take down Seoul? Major matchup coming up at 8 p.m. on Wednesday.
Absolutely, and all of these mid-table teams will be cheering on the Valiant, even the ones that don't want the Valiant to take that 3rd place spot, because Seoul are the team in the top 3 that can fall. They have the worst record out of the top 3 so far, so any of these guys, Boston, Houston, they'll all be looking to overtake Seoul, get into that Stage 1 playoffs, and they'll be cheering on Valiant to do it.
This concludes our 48th match of the regular season. 12 more to go in Stage 1, and it kicks all off on Wednesday. We hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Can't wait to have everybody back. If you haven't already, go to overwatchleague.com. Pick up your tickets for Week 5. We're going to have a sold-out crowd every day. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
This will protect us.